Crime scenes, blood, and dead bodies. The stuff murders are made of, and sometimes college classes. As Alex Dimitrick reports, at the University of Maryland, the signs of violent death are everywhere, provided you look real close.
In Tom Mariello's class, the subject tonight is violent death.
If you have a dead body, if it's a dead body scene, we want to know how did the person die, when did they die, based on observation of the body.
There's the spent bullet, then there's the one that's in her head.
There's 2 champagne glasses, so there's someone else there.
All the evidence you need to prove her story or prove his story is in this case. Everything you need is in there. You need to find it.
And to find it, you have to look close, because an introduction to criminalistics at the University of Maryland, murder is done up in miniature. Half a dozen crime scenes have been set into rooms lifted right out of a child's dollhouse. There are accidental deaths and deliberate ones. And it is up to the students to figure out which is which.
Why was she driving with a nightgown?
She moved her car from the driveway. It was in the driveway and she moved it in. It could have been in the driveway and she went out in her nightgown to move it in.
Based on everything they learned during the semester, about fingerprints, about ballistics, firearms identification, footprints, pathology, looking at the body and how it looks, how it's positioned, the lividity and the rigor mortis, all that stuff was built into the scenario, and that tells them something.
Tom, we're going to need to turn off the lights. They're ready.
Tools used by police, like black lights, are also used to find evidence that might otherwise be missed.
Oh, it's semen!
Which fluoresces under black light. But then detail is everywhere, provided you can see it.
What's the date?
September 10th.
Okay, so that's today's newspaper.
The idea for presenting murder in miniature is not new, but it is certainly unique. And it can be traced here at this small room in the medical examiner's office in Baltimore. They're called Truth in a Nutshell, exquisitely detailed reconstructions of death done in the 1940s by a millionaire New Hampshire woman with a taste for crime. Tom Mariello saw them one day and got the idea for his dollhouses.
This dollhouse experience is the closest thing that my students get to kind of putting things together and kind of getting the feeling by looking at a scene.
It takes a lot to investigate crime scenes, and it's not as simple as one would think that it would be.
You have to have a good eye. You have to look at every corner, every aspect of the crime scene.
You can't always be sure what looks like what happened actually happens.
I believe that the students who go through this process will have exposed themselves to a thinking process, and that's what we're asking them to do, to be open-minded.
Especially if they ever hope to close a case. Alex Dimitrick, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
Murders in Miniature isn't only a hit with students planning on careers in law enforcement. About half the class is made up of pre-law students who take what they learn into the courtroom as trial lawyers.